welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Lindsay, and this is another monthly reading wrap-up. This is my August reading wrap-up. I think I read about 4 books, or like 3.5 books. It was a busy month for me, but I still think I read a decent amount. So let me just get into that. So the first book is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. It's the second book in the Shepherd King duology, and I have a video up, a spoiler-free review of that duology up if you want to go check that out. I also talked about this book a little bit in last month's reading wrap-up because I read One Dark Window, and I was waiting for a while for this on Libby. But it was a 2-month wait, and I ended up getting a Barnes & Noble gift card, so I just got the physical copy, and I'm so happy I did, because this is definitely a duology that I'm going to reread. It has such a hold on me. I love it so much. You can see I went back and tabbed things. I went feral analyzing this. I just loved this duology. I can't really say anything without spoiling it since it is the second book, but just the characters, their backstories, the mysteries that unravel, the whole world building, this world. I loved the world building in this world, and the romance and the characters. They, like I said, have such a hold on me. I could not recommend this duology more. It's a world with curses, deep dark magic, generational curses, and like breaking the cycle of generational curses and trauma. And I just, as I already said, really loved it. I can't say again much more than that. It's just, I really loved it. The next book is Howl's Moving Castle. If you've seen the movie, it's just as cute, but so different. The stories of the books and the movies, they have similar essences, but they really truly are different. The characterizations are different, so highly recommend reading the book if you haven't read the story, or if you've seen the movie and haven't read the book. I recommend reading the book. It's about Sophie. She is the eldest of 3. She has 2 younger sisters, and she has decided that that means that she is destined for nothing of significance, that she is honestly meant to fail a lot, and that she is completely content with running the hat shop, her family's hat shop, with her stepmom. She thinks that's her destiny and that she's not going to amount to anything other than that until one day she gets cursed by the Witch of the Waste into becoming an elderly woman. And then there's Howl, who is a wizard that lives in a moving castle, and he has a reputation for eating girls' hearts. I can't say much else without spoiling, but trust me, Howl is just, the characters in this are so great. This book is silly and romantic and inspiring and adventurous, and honestly, I could not recommend it more if you like fantasy. It has those kind of classic fantasy vibes as well, but also kind of makes fun of some fantasy tropes, and it is humorous, but it is also, like I said, inspiring and really cute, so really recommend this story. It's middle grade, but you can still read it as an adult. I did, and I think that's totally fine. So the next book is a DNF, but I am going to tell you about it. So it follows Taliesin, who is a soldier from Sardovia, fighting in this ongoing war against the Night Empire. They use something called storm weapons, like lightning cannons, and that seems pretty significant. She feels a weird connection to a place called Nenevar and gets these flashbacks, they seem, or just these visions that she's not quite sure what they mean, where they're from, and she is what they call, we learn early on, she is an aethomancer. I might have pronounced that wrong, but it basically means she has this light magic. There's also a rumor of dragons and the possibility of using them to aid their war effort. Taliesin mentions early on a longing for human connection. She has friends, but she's an orphan, so she would like some deeper connection. She's definitely hinting at wanting romance, and it is a romantic book. There's a lot of romance, especially when she is forced into an arranged marriage with Prince Alaric to cause an alliance. He is also a shadow wielder, so it's, you know, light and dark. What's interesting is it's marketed as a fantasy, and I do think it has a lot of fantasy elements. However, I found it to be more of a sci-fi story. It was giving off more sci-fi vibes, for lack of better words, and I definitely felt the influence of Star Wars. I know it started as a Reylo fanfic, and I can definitely see that in here. But it does have fantasy elements with the dragons. It's also a story of political intrigue. I can tell Thea Guanzon very much thought out the plot politically. I do think the world building, other than that though, it was a bit convoluted because we would be told a lot of things but given little information, little explanation to it all. So I found that with the pacing is kind of why I ended up DNFing it. All in all, I can understand why people like it, especially if you like the Star Wars sequels and Reylo, and I'll say it again, I don't dislike Reylo, I just like to pretend the sequels don't exist at all and they aren't real and they can't hurt me, or the Chosen One prophecy. I will say, if the sequels did one thing, it's they made me appreciate the prequels even more, because like the prequels story-wise, it's good. It's just we all know that George Lucas had to write it himself, so like it's not the best writing, and some of the dialogue is a little bit silly, but like we can make fun of it, but where would we be without the prequel memes? And I can recite those movies. I'm pretty sure if I tried, I could recite all 3 movies from start to finish. So yeah, that is my review of that book. Again, I read about half of it and then I just couldn't. I wasn't getting into it, so I decided to DNF, but I do see why people like it, and if that sounds like something that interests you, definitely go check it out. The next book is Divine Rivals. I did just start this book, so I really can't say much, but I am enjoying it so far. It has very pretty prose, and I'm excited to get more into it. It does very much seem like a story that I will like. Like, we already saw in the first chapter, it was like letters. What is that called, the first chapter? It's called Letters Through the Wardrobe, and that really piqued my interest, so I am excited to get more into. I had to move because my foot's falling asleep. I swear this always happens to me. But I just really enjoying that so far, and I can't wait to read more. And I do plan on doing, because I'm assuming because of me not being that far into the first one and already enjoying it, that I am going to end up reading the second one, and I will probably do a spoiler-free, like, separate video review of this duology. And lastly, I am still doing Dracula Daily, still reading that via my emails, and I'm enjoying it. I've been enjoying it this whole time. I feel like there isn't that much longer left. What? I feel like there isn't that much longer left. I could be terribly wrong about that, but it just seems like where we're at in the story, that the ending's gonna be coming soon. But I feel like this is a really good time to be reading it, because it's September now, so we're coming up on Spooky Month next month, and it's a story about a vampire, so it's really getting me into the Halloween spirit. But yeah, that's my August reading wrap up. I read a few good books. I only had 1 DNF, so pretty good month overall, and I'm really excited for more books that I'm going to read this fall, for the books that I plan on reading this fall. I could have worded that better, but you understand what I'm saying. I plan on doing more monthly reading wrap-ups this year, as well as vlogs and spoiler-free reviews and the likes of that. So if you like reading and if you like reading and those kind of videos, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye!